Last week, after a 7,000-mile trip to the Great Lakes, all of them, I made it back safely to Florida for the winter. And I promised to share with you why I'm doing the Orlando Shuffle and moving every 2 or 3 weeks instead of doing a seasonal or an annual site. I'm also going to show you what my winter setup looks like in my Class C RV now that I'm only moving every 2 or 3 weeks. And if you stay tuned until the end, I'll let you know exactly how much I spent on my 6-month, 16-state Great Lakes tour. Hey, I'm Nancy, and I live and travel full-time in my Class C RV with my 2 small dogs and a cat, towing my Jeep almost everywhere I go. Why the Orlando Shuffle? Well, the biggest thing is it's free. I am a Thousand Trails Adventure member, and that covers 75 to 80% of my camping fees every year. Yes, there was a big buy-in, which I paid when I sold my house and everything in it, almost everything in it, and I chose to live this lifestyle full-time in an RV. As you'll see when I tell you how much my Great Lakes trip cost later in the video, I think you'll see how the only way I can afford to live and travel full-time in my Class C RV is with the Thousand Trails membership. It allows me pretty much to live for free in Florida in the winter. This year, like last year, I'll be moving 30 minutes or so every 2 or 3 weeks from one Thousand Trails or Encore Park to another in Central Florida. Last year, I think I only used a half a tank of gas on the RV for the whole winter. Staying in Florida for the winter allows me to spend time with my Florida family and my friends, catch up on my medical and my dental needs, get any business affairs in order, and save money so that I can do my next 6 or 7 month trip in 2025. I'm going west next year, which is all new to me, and I'll share that planning process with you when I start planning in January. While it might be nice to spend the winter in just one park, it would probably cost me about $6,000 to do that. Money that at this point I'd rather spend on my trip out west. So I will pack up and move every 2 to 3 weeks. But staying somewhere locally for the winter does allow me to rearrange my space inside and give me some more floor space, and also use my outside area as living space. That's kind of hard to do when you're traveling every 1 to 5 days. If you're enjoying my video, please consider leaving a nice comment, liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and even checking out some of my other RV lifestyle and travel videos. One of the things I did inside was to move my oversized chair closer to my cab area and kind of block that off. This opens up so much more floor space for me in the RV, and for the dogs to hang out in and play in, and for me to move around in and reach everything I need to reach much easier without having to shuffle everything around inside every time I want to get a pot out to cook. The thermal curtains not only help keep it warm inside, they also keep the heat out on the hot days, which I haven't had too many of because it seems like I have brought the cold weather with me to Florida. Last night was 42 degrees, and today it probably won't get out of the 60s. Outside, I set up the gazebo I'm sitting in now. I use it to work in, hang out in, entertain in, and cook in. Today, I do have to take all this down because I'm moving tomorrow. I have to hook my tow dolly back up and put everything away for my 30-minute trip up the street. One good thing about moving so much is that it really forces me to travel minimalistically and clear out anything that I'm not using frequently. The third part of this video that I promised you is how much did I spend on that 16-state, 7,000-mile trip from Florida to Minnesota and back again. My biggest expense was gas. I spent $2,799 on diesel for the RV and $469 on regular gas for the Jeep, for a grand total of $3,268. I get about 9 miles per gallon traveling in my RV while towing my Jeep behind me. The next biggest expense was campgrounds at $2,545 for the 53 nights that I spent outside of the Thousand Trails system. Unfortunately, there are not Thousand Trails everywhere I go, and I have to pay for campgrounds outside of the system sometimes in order to go the places that I want to go. With my Thousand Trails yearly membership dues, it cost me about $4.58 a night to camp, compared to the $48 a night that I averaged camping outside of the system. Yes, I could have looked for free camping, but after traveling 3 or 4 hours a day and or exploring, I don't feel like spending another hour trying to find a free campsite, possibly getting stuck in sand or mud or somewhere else that I really just don't belong. And while no place is perfect, as a solo traveler, I feel more comfortable and safer sleeping in a more protected environment like a campground. The last category of expenses I'm going to talk about is activities. I travel to see and experience different things around the country, and many of them cost money. Even when you go hiking in a state park, a lot of times there's an entrance fee just to get in the park. This year I did the Bridge Walk at New River Gorge in West Virginia, Dollywood in Tennessee, the Biltmore and Grandfather Mountain in North Carolina, Gettysburg and a scenic helicopter ride in Pennsylvania, Watkins Glen and Niagara Falls in New York, boat tours of Lake Huron and Pictured Rocks in Michigan, Voyageurs National Park in Minnesota, and the Apostle Islands in Wisconsin. I did a tour of the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island, the Judy Garland Museum in Minnesota, and the Ark Encounter, and 3 Mammoth Cave tours in Kentucky. And those are just the things I paid for. The total for my paid activities was $743, for a grand trip total of $6,556. I'll do a complete year in review of 2024 with all of my 2024 expenses in January. You can check out some of my travel videos here. I still have a few more to put together for you. Thanks for joining me on my 2024 trip review and my start of the Orlando Winter Shuffle. Stop back next week for a new video about some of the things I've learned during my past year and a half living and traveling full-time in a Class C RV that helped make my life a little easier and a little more comfortable.